Oh, well, if you can't find it, where a big hat?
Or buy a big dog.
What's up with everyone this morning, anyway? Getting ready for a fancy dress ball?
We've got big do's on, haven't we?
There you are, dressed up like Lady Chatterley's lover.
He wasn't a chauffeur. He was a gamekeeper.
Pardon my literary education. There's Auntie Annie upstairs flinging frocks round in a mad, furious dilemma.
Mad furious what?
That thing with Ornson. Honest, her bedroom's like the January sales. The Brookside Motel people won't know what's descending on them.
You know, it's so good for one's morale to be able to wear clothes.
I thought you always did.
Nice clothes, and I've got so many.
Oh, why don't you wear them more often, Mum? Give the customers a treat.
Good taste is just not appreciated in here, and heaven only knows what sort of people are going to get tramping up and down if the barbarians prevail and that warehouse is allowed.
All makes work for the working man. Food for empty bellies.
Like you as greedy guts.
That or this? Oh, I think this. Oh. Definitely.
I'm glad you asked me advice.
You know, I have an idea that this motel opening is going to be quite a grand affair, and I intend to live up to it.
You might get your picture in a glossy magazine.
Curiously enough, the same thought had occurred to me.
If you wear that dress, the Lord Mayor will have you up for every dance.
Oh, talking of the Lord Mayor, his car's still in your garage, isn't it? Now, why not take Auntie Annie along in that?
Why not keep that out?
Please, Billy, I want no more word of that car, or you'll see me getting terribly annoyed, joyriding about in that car of all cars.
But, Mum, it's got to be serviced.
Yes, well, it's no use coming those tales with me, Billy. I know you too well.
It's perfectly above board, but I don't know how I'd be coming along if it wasn't.
Look, I am saying nothing about Alan, but there are certain women in this street...
Name but two.
...who are capable of irresponsible behaviour.
Oh, don't go on, Mum.
I might be going on, but it's my belief that you are being led up the garden. Oh, Miss Nugent, dear, I need your backing.
Yes, I do agree, Mrs. Walker. It's really a matter of community pride.
Pardon, dear.
All interested parties will meet here at midday to decide which would be the most suitable course of action.
Yes. Actually, I was talking about my wardrobe. Anyhow, it's going to be this one. Lucille, come and help me get into it. If the event is recorded in a magazine, I must certainly remember to send a copy to Nellie Harvey. She'd be so pleased.
Oh, she'll be tickled pink. Or green.
Someday I'll find one person to whom everything I say is instantly coherent and comprehensible.
It could be just around the corner for all you know.
Oh, will you shut that door before we all turn to icy cold?
There's a bite in the air.
Can't feel me toes. My nose is nearly dropping off every time I touch the till. My fingers freeze to it. I'm not selling you out cold.
It's Mrs. Clegg, as a matter of fact.
Oh, well, I don't know how hot she is. A bit warmish, I'd say. Maggie, there's a tall, dark, handsome stranger here defying the elements and wanting to see you.
Really? Send him through.
If it's about the protest meeting, I'm very good at carrying banners. Do you know what they call me down at the hall, Sister Anna?
No, it's a different matter. A private matter.
Oh. Right, back to the deep freeze, but it's your turn in an hour, Maggie.
Sit down, Mr. Bishop, won't you?
I had to come, Mrs. Clegg. I've been awake all night. I've got a strong feeling of crisis. I feel my whole life's in the balance.
Steady on. Have a cup of tea.
Yes, I will, thank you, yes. Just the thing. I want to speak to Emily, honest I do, but, well, how can I with this ultimatum hanging over me like a sword of Damocles?
As I understand it, they merely prefer their lay preachers to be married.
Oh,
that's all.
Sometimes they send the lay preachers off to college. It's a great honour, but they insist on married men. And if I don't get married, well, they could always say, well, how could I understand the domestic problems of my congregation, you know?
Yes, I can understand.
Well, suppose me and Emily did, well, get to the altar, and then after she found out. Well, she'd think I'd just married for my own convenience. There'd always be a doubt. She hasn't spoken, has she? She hasn't hinted.
She said nothing to me.
I can understand the logic of the committee's advice, but you don't get married out of logic, you get married out of emotion.
I've been thinking a lot since you confided in me.
I couldn't bottle it up anymore. I apologise for burdening you like this. I'm doing it again and I'm sorry, but, well, it helps.
Why don't you? Tell her the simple facts of the situation the way you told me.
Oh, no, that wouldn't do. That wouldn't do at all, I don't think.
I'm sure she'd understand.
Told these things quite high-handedly and expected to accept them as inevitable, but we must steel ourselves against this kind of coercion.
Oh, aye.
The meek, I'm afraid, just don't inherit the earth. The sad truth is quite the opposite, but we must arm against a sea of trouble. Today a warehouse, tomorrow an oil refinery.
It'll be handy, though.
Handy?
Crescent Supply. Have you seen their catalogues? They've got smashing stuff, and it says, visit our warehouse and see our wonderful range.
Well, that's a rather surprising attitude.
Yeah, it was a pleasant surprise. I'm all for this warehouse, and I'll tell you, the next thing I'll be getting from it, and all looking at this lot.
What's that?
One of them cameras they call Instant, and they're cheaper than what you sell them.
Cold stare for a cold day.
Not the pleasantest of women. You look quite pinched and peaky. Is anything wrong?
Oh, no, not at all.
I've been in, in something of a tiz-was, waiting to hear what the committee had to say.
Committee?
I really am most anxious to know how my idea was received.
Your idea?
The ladies' discussion circle.
Oh, yes. No, we couldn't squeeze it on the agenda.
Oh, how disappointing. I was looking forward to hearing their views. I've so much faith in your committee.
No, we were rather busy.
I can appreciate that. Matters of the soul take precedence over matters material.
Yes. You'd have laughed.
Would I? At what?
Well, it sounds rather silly, really. We were talking about Alfie Pownell.
Who?
The caretaker at the college. You know, he's been married 40 years next week. Happily.
Happily?
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad.
This is what'll make you laugh.
Go on.
Do you know why he married Dorothy? That's his wife.
Because he loved her?
Yes. Well, yes, but, do you know, 40 years ago, they've got a son in Australia, you know. Anyway, no, it seemed that they were both after the same job 40 years ago.
1930?
Yes. We did laugh when he told us. But he thought, I do like Alfie and Dorothy, you know.
Yes.
Anyway, he thought the best thing to do was to marry her quick. And he got the job.
Really?
Yes, his daughter married a chemist, got his own shop.
Hardly the sort of thing to boast about.
40 years. Happily married.
But just think, Ernest. To marry for the sake of obtaining a position. It's a practical world, I know.
Never mind, it'll be warm and cosy in that lovely limousine.
Bet I'd be all hooked up a match in the bedroom.
Mind you, we might finish up in a nice centrally heated prison cell for taking away and driving without permission.
I fancy Chester myself on the River Dee.
Ah, there was a jolly miller that lived there once. I wonder what happened to him.
Well, we might see him if they ever get us there.
Listen, kid, Billy Walker might be driving, but we'll be reading the signposts and the alt signs.
Morning, Ginger.
Oh, Billy, where did you get that?
Found it under the front seat. Now listen, girls, the car will be ready at 1 o'clock prompt. So one brief symphony on the horn and get yourselves out there, all right?
Billy, are we taking
Oh,
a...
shh. Keep it dark. Coach built doors have ears.
One, well, what time is it now to make it?
12:30.
Aye.
Hey, what about that meeting?
Oh, I better go and tell Maggie we've gone.
Well, where is she?
Well, she's at the meeting. She's very anti this warehouse, you know. She's frightened they'll have their own works canteen.
Now, as you all know, it is not my habit to boast.
Here, encore. And
But
for
it
my
does
next
so
song.
happen that I have this rather important social function to attend this afternoon. Now, such a bore, when I'd so much rather be with you, my friends and neighbours.
Not to mention customers.
Therefore, I will confine myself to declaring this meeting well and truly open.
God bless her and all who's sailing. A crash with the champagne now, Mrs. Walker.
What does she think it is? A flipping flower show?
So, I will leave you to your deliberations, just pausing to remind you that these are my domestic quarters, and therefore I trust that you will treat them as you would treat your own.
Elsie, come here. I
I
want to show
can't,
you
love.
the...
I'm in a rush. I haven't got time. Is it all right if I go through better?
Yeah.
Have I been blacked?
Well, it's what they call a coven, darling. You see, they've made this effigy of you out of candle grease, and they're all stood about, sticking pins in it.
So they're walking over my grave, are they? Well, I'm not going to stand here and let them kick me to death.
Ray Langton thought pins was too kind. So he's whacking 6-inch nails in with a big hammer.
I
suggest a sit-in to show that we won't stand for it.
Not in my house.
A boycott.
He's a very famous pianist, you know.
A human barricade?
What we want's a good solicitor, if we can find such a thing.
I've prepared some forms for a petition.
Ah, you can't beat a good old-fashioned violent protest.
right.
Yes, get your catapults from me. Gas masks are available on generous HP terms when the army moves in.
That's not funny, Ray. And it's certainly not Christian.
Are the fellas that want to build this warehouse, Christian?
Very few of us are these days, Elsie, except when it comes to christenings and funerals. But, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it about time we did something to stop these tin pot barons? Yes. I mean, nowadays they can drive a motorway through our homes or an airport, don't even ask us. Right. Never mind. The pen is mightier than the sword. We shall retaliate.
We shall. Mr. Bishop has suggested a petition which does seem the most appropriate idea. Signatures in pen and ink. Shall we take a vote?
Yeah, vote.
Vote, yeah.
Well, that seems generally agreed on. All those in favour of a petition, please raise their hands. It does seem unanimous.
I spy strangers. Strangers are present.
Oh, Councillor Fairclough.
I ask you to leave this meeting.
Oh, give me a chance, Annie.
I'll do no such thing. You saw fit to keep to yourself the facts about the erection of this monstrosity. You betrayed us, whose interests you were supposed to represent.
Can I say something?
Oh, you want to say something, do you? Well, you didn't want to say much a couple of weeks ago, as I remember.
All I want to say is this.
Mate, we are not allowed into your council meetings, are we? So keep out of ours, all right?
Oh, shut up, yourself.
Right.
So that's the way you want it.
Yes, councillor.
Oh, let him have a
Save
few
your
words.
breath, Elsie. I'm not wasting mine.
Coach and 4 for Mrs. Walker.
Petition forms are available for signature on this table here.
Will you ask him to wait 2 minutes? I just want to place my name at the head of this declaration. Excuse me.
Hey, just a minute, snatching and grabbing.
Well, it is my privilege, Mrs.
I don't care, Hey, that's us.
We want to get our names down first.
Oh, look, she's doing it in copper plate. It'll take her until tomorrow. Let's do it later. Come on, let's go.
Come on.
He's still waiting. He says he's got another job at 2:30.
Right, well, once more into the breach, as the bard says.
Shall I go in?
Have a good time, Mom.
Come on, missus, you'll have it Christmas.
Smooth as a baby's, isn't they?
Well, he beats the Fulton bus ride.
Hey, that commissioner at the Midland Hotel.
I felt like getting out and thanking him. It's the first time in my life I've ever been saluted. Hey, listen to that engine. Here you can hear it. Billy? That's your mother's taxi, isn't it? Hey, stand by for a 21-gun salute as we pass her amidships.
You can't pass her amidships. You've got the choice, port or starboard.
All right, we'll fly over. Bombs away! Somebody once said a rose was the only car you could walk through and still keep your hat on.
Well, what about Chester? Are we on the right road?
I keep trying to go to Chester, but the car keeps wanting to go back to Buckingham Palace.
Oh, they may not be in. Make it Chester. Next roundabout.
Right. Chester, here we come.
Mrs. Ogden's dead right. And you know, Mrs. Toft, there'll be lorries and vans in and out of this warehouse all the day through.
Yeah, now you've had a long life, Mrs. Toft, and we don't want to see you end up knocked down in the gutter.
It's my belief, too,
that these places attract thieves.
Yeah. Now, that ground we're going to build on could have been made into a park with trees and things.
Trees attract dogs.
Well, so do lampposts.
Are you protesting against lampposts?
No. All we want you to do is to sign the petition. Yeah. But it's up to you. You don't have to. It's a free country. But it wouldn't be if some councils had their way.
Here, tell you what, Mrs. Clegg. You keep this one in the shop. I'll go door knocking with the other. We'll need a spiritualist to get through to her.
Which warehouse is it you're thinking of knocking down?
Oh, the one they're putting up, love.
Oh, well, there's no hurry then, is there? You can't get it knocked down till they put it up.
Hello, hello. Putting pressure on the old lady to sign your petition, are you? You stick to your guns, darling.
And you can keep your big hooter out, Mr. Corporation Bootlicker. Take no notice of him, Mrs. Toft. Here, I'll explain it to you, Chuck. Now, you know they're knocking down
Use
those
the
flats
ballpoint,
over
please.
the road. Well, they're going to put up a wall, as you can see. And that's not going to be bad.
Doing your boots.
Come here.
Well, you're going to test it for me.
Test it yourself. Put your name on that.
Oh, Maggie, if you're going to capture the headlines from Cublington, you'll have to do it without me.
We probably can. You've not done much for us.
That was an overwhelming vote on the council, Maggie.
You're an independent. Hilda's right. Who are you creeping to?
You see, nobody's going to believe me, so I'm just wasting my time, aren't I? But I fought against that warehouse, but I was outvoted. The only concession they would make was for that community centre.
You're right. Nobody will believe you. I don't.
And as for you, Miss Nugent, I would have thought your mind would be more on wedding bells than on petitions and protests.
Must you always talk in riddles, Mr. Fairclough?
Well, don't tell me he hasn't popped the question yet. He's a bit slow, that lad, isn't he, considering?
Len, perhaps you'd explain what you're talking about.
Well, just that I was told by a mate of mine who serves on a certain church committee that a fellow we both know has been asked to get himself a bride. It looks good for the flock. Better than waiting for leap year, comrade.
Look, missus, I've cut through the lanes, I've taken shortcuts, I've saved you time and money on the meter.
I'm sure we've seen those cows twice.
They probably did, and they were probably so delighted to see you that they all caught a bus and got into another field to see you again.
Now, please don't try to be funny. Ask that man ahead.
Mate! We're looking for the Brookside Motel.
Oh, it's 2 miles down that fork. What's going on there, anyway? You're about the third that's asked where it is.
I'm only the driver.
Ooh, isn't it quiet? Everybody else whooping it up and us sat here like two old maids. Hey, I'm talking to you.
I'm afraid I'm not feeling very communicative. Shall we clear the pots? I've had a shock. Mr. Fairclough, in his usual, well, to be charitable, let's say good-humoured fashion.
Like belting everyone on the head with the blunt end of an axe.
Something like that, yes. Apparently, Mr. Bishop's got to get married.
Well, I've heard of it happening to women. It's the first time I've heard of it happening to a fella before. Oh, I'm sorry.
Seemingly the mission committee's made a rule.
Well, it'll do Ernest Bishop good to get married.
Somehow I don't think he shares that view.
Men.
I can appreciate his dilemma. Caught between two fires, so to speak.
You and the mission committee.
Perhaps the metaphor is a bit out of place.
Not if he strikes sparks. Does he?
I did have hopes.
You'd have him if he asked.
Perhaps.
Yeah, there's no perhaps about it.
We get on well. I think he was trying to prepare me with a parable earlier.
You suited?
I think we could be happy.
Well, smashing then. This is probably the push he needed.
Oh, we couldn't do it this way, Lucille. It's unthinkable. I couldn't.
You can't let an opportunity like this slip by.
If he'd wanted to marry me, he could have asked me. Without a push.
Where are we supposed to be going? I thought it was Chester.
It's out. I've just heard the Romans have recaptured it. Hello? There we are, I told you. Road closed due to enemy action.
It's a flaming diversion. You can't travel 5 miles in this country today without some flaming diversion. Little man sitting in a big office somewhere dreaming all this up.
I'm sorry about what I said. Carried away I was. You know, it's with being a political animal.
You know you might have been knocked through that wall. You know that, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I might have been, but I wasn't. Conscience?
No. Bored. Fed up with the whole flaming business.
Well, how do you think I feel? I work with you all day, I share the house, and you can't even flaming well confide in me.
I couldn't.
Well, you could at least have got some work out of it for us.
I voted against that warehouse. You can't go asking for contracts after that.
Yeah, well, that's what you say.
That's right, love. That's what I say.
Or maybe it's just as well you didn't get a contract, 'cause that warehouse will never go up.
Right.
We'll see to that.
You'll see to nothing. All you'll do is make a lot of flaming noise. That's what the council expects. But that building will go up and up and up.
Oh, I'm glad you two have come. Old Ogden's just building a guillotine.
Can I have 2 sherries, please?
Sweet like me or dry like Len Fairclough?
Medium.
I'll fetch him.
Definite. Got a position going, you know.
I think I'll go for a walk when I've had this sherry.
A walk in this weather? Where to?
Oh, anywhere. Just a walk.
No, you won't. You'll sit here and think with me.
You can only think on your own, Lucille.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
I just dropped in to see you, you know.
Well, I'm here.
2 medium sherries. What about you, Mr. Bishop? Lemonade?
No, thank you.
I see. Not during working hours.
That's right.
Yes, well, I think I'll leave you.
No, don't go. I've got a dash.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it's that motorised valve, you know, from all angles. Very difficult lighting job. Ferguson's, you know.
Yes, I know. I took the order.
Oh, yes. Well, anyway, no, all I wanted to ask was, do you think you could stay on at the studio till I get back? There's something I want to talk to you about.
I can keep myself busy, I dare say.
Oh, good. Well, I'll be off.
Well, I don't know, Lucille.
I think I can boast a few small achievements as regards raising the level of taste in my little hotel, but it is quite heartbreaking, you know. My regular customers, the salt of the earth when one really gets down to it, they're so unsophisticated in their appreciation of the finer things of this world. Now, I must admit that this decor would be completely wasted on them.
Excuse me, Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Very nice to talk to you, but I'm wanted at the front entrance. Other important guests. No rest for people like us.
But of course, charming, the whole place, I think.
What's all this about?
Looks like a wedding or something.
Turn back, mate.
How can I turn back in this flipping thing?
Billy, I'm dying to spend a penny. Do summer.
I can't do something, can I? What you waiting for? Get in there.
Welcome to our motel. So glad you could come.
Look, I think there's
It's not a very nice day, I'm afraid, but I expect we can find something inside to warm you up. This way.
Oh, thank you very much, love.
Aren't you sweet?
Thank you.